Hey, good morning, everyone. If everything goes right, you're seeing this on Monday morning, and we are moving on with part 2 of the Wishin' I Was Fishin' sign dedicated to my dad. And so where we left off is I had done the detail on the fish and the fishing line and the hook, but I hadn't got into the letters yet. So now I've done some of the letters, but I wanted to save some of the letters for on scene. So baby, if you can scroll down here. So what we have to do now is finish these letters up and then do our border on there. And again, we've got some special things planned for this. So I'm going to spin this thing around. I've got the profile bit in. As it turned out, all of this stuff wasn't anything I couldn't do with the profile bit. So I've got the profile bit. I've got it set at a little over 1/8 of an inch. I think that, well, let me check that. Was that correct? Oh, a little less than 1/8 of an inch. So I think that is going to work just about right. So let's get it going here. All right, guys, I think you can see what I'm after there. Here's another really good reason to have the layout by you when you're doing it. I couldn't tell from here whether this S actually connected there, but it stops just short, just what I did here. But I had to look at my layout. So there's another, just an instance of why it's a good idea to have the layout next to you. So I'm going to just finish up these few letters here. Then when we come back, we're going to use, we're going to get this border done and move on. So we'll be right back. All right, so I got the lettering pretty much done as far as all the detail work. Now I want to work on this border. So what I'm going to do is I've got my my little Bosch router, and I've got my 1/8 inch spiral in there set at about 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to make this just flat all the way around this border. So let's see if we can pull that off. Here we go. wanted to do that two different ways, guys. The first line that I cut on there, I pretty much just try to keep it as, sorry Mag was on my air hose. Just tried to keep it as straight as I can following that line. So I just tried to keep it as straight as I could. But that second line, if you'll notice, go back and watch, I actually stuck my hand underneath there and used my hand as an edge guide underneath there. Now, you know, you could there's just so many different ways you could use an edge guide or glue a piece of, or clamp a straight edge down. I just don't do that much anymore, but it appears that I held a little bit better line coming down here. Now now that that's done, I can always go back, and you can tell I stayed away from the line. I purposely stayed away from the line a little bit, so now it'll be much easier to go back and miss any little bobbles, like there's one there, and I might go back and see if I can straighten that out a little bit. In fact, I'll do that right now. Here we go. So, a couple things I want to go over. First of all, you guys are probably asking why I'm not using my 1/4 inch spiral upcut bit, and why am I using the 1/8 inch. So if you go back to my general rule, the more wood that you're cutting out, the harder it is to be able to hold a line. So that's the reason I decided to go with the 1/8 inch, because it'll flow through the wood much easier, and again, especially since I'm doing oak. That's number one. Number two, when you're going back and touching that up, remember, anytime you stop, get that bit out of that cut. Don't leave that router bit down in that cut, because anything could happen at that point. As long as you're moving, you're good. But when you stop moving for any reason, to readjust your hands or to get closer or whatever, get that router bit up out of that cut.
I was wondering why you did that.
Yeah, because you know, anything could happen at that point. When you're sitting still, that's when the vibration can happen, and anything can happen. So whenever you slow down and you need to readjust, get that router bit and then go back past where you started, and then kind of blend that in. All right, I think that's it for there. I'm going to go ahead and do the other 3 sides off camera. Then when we come back, we'll get the rest of this carving done. All right, guys, so one thing I learned after that last scene where I cut that one side is that in order to have enough room under here with my fat sausage fingers, I use bench cookies. So don't... do
you want me to move them?
Yes, please, that would be great. Thank you, babe. So those bench cookies can really come into play. Now, you can use other things to build it up too, but those bench cookies, I've had those for a long time, so that helped out. Now, being as this is all the color on here, I'm going to kind of let the bag out of the cat, so to speak. It's all going to be resin. All of our color on here is going to be resin, except the outside. So that's the reason I'm cutting so shallow, because it really just doesn't need to be very deep. So I'm going to go back with my the same 1/8 inch spiral upcut, and I am going to let's see, am I doing that the right way? Yeah, I think I am. And cut flats in all of that stuff. let's do the outside and then we'll get the inside done. Here we go. All right, guys, so that is what I'm going to do there. I'll go ahead and finish up the border. I'll get all of this stuff cut out of there, and I'm going to do this as well. And then Vicky's going to use her expertise and put some colored resin back in there. So we will be back. All right, so I got all the carving done. All my background is pretty much flat. Now what I did have to do, there were some places in these tight places where I couldn't get my 1/8 inch spiral that I went back in deeper with my profile bit. You can see that. But again, the fact that there was a mismatch back in there doesn't matter because it's all going to be filled with resin anyway. So the next step is I want the edge to be black. So I'm going to mask it off, spray that edge black, take the masking tape off, and then we're going to come back and Vicky's going to do some resin work on here, and then we'll sand the whole thing off after that. So we'll be right back. Go.
Hi guys, so welcome back. Now we get to play with some resin. So Eric has put 3 coats of his finish, his clear gloss finish. Hopefully that will prevent or help to prevent the bubbles from the wood. And I'm not sure why that's on there.
Well, because that's the black around.
Oh, okay, so that's the black that he used, and then he sprayed the whole thing. And now I've got about 6 ounces of resin. That's 3 ounces of hardener, 3 ounces of resin. We have green pearl. And then we have Atlantic blue. So we're going to put the blue on the inside and the green on the outside. And Eric has a reason. He'll tell you what that is.
Well, when you go back and watch the video of me sitting in the lake, the deep water is blue. That's the middle of the lake. And around the edges is green.
That's the reason.
That seemed to make sense to me. So
I'm going to try and do this part kind of because it's really thin.
So we're going to have to do more sanding, obviously, after the resin dries.
Just try to keep as much of the resin in the actual carving so that it's less sanding that has to be done.
And what kind of resin are we using?
Total Boat Tabletop.
Total Boat Tabletop.
My absolute favorite.
There's the Total Boat upside down.
Where is it? Oh.
It's right on the cup upside down.
So this takes a little bit of time, but that's all right.
Since you started mixing the resin, it's been 9 minutes right now.
Oh, we're good.
So I guess it makes sense working from the inside out, right?
Oh.
Doing the middle first before you do the outside.
Yeah, that way, as it is, I'm going to end up with my arm in it. That way, hopefully, keep it somewhat clear of my arm, my shirt.
You know, I've seen people use the syringes. And
I don't like them because I don't have enough control over that plunger. I guess I haven't used them enough to really perfected them, I guess is the word.
You almost got the blue in the border there.
All right, here we go. Now I'm using the cups because you can pinch them and get the kind of a point. Hopefully keep it as controlled as possible. Or not. I never said I was a professional.
But everybody else says you are.
Yeah, well, they don't see me when I'm cursing.
Well, depends on who you mean by they. I do.
You do. You're just lucky.
That's right. All right, so we're going to finish the blue.
And
It's
then,
going to take a few minutes so we don't have to sit here and film the whole thing. And then once you start pouring the green, we'll come back. Does that make sense?
yep.
Okay, be right back.
I gotta pour. All right, so we have the blue in. I kind of scraped it a little bit, seeing if I can't keep as much of it off as possible so the sanding doesn't get too over craziness. So now we're gonna do the green. It's already getting pretty warm.
Over craziness, huh?
Yeah, like that. It's a Vickyism. All right. Now,
If you can keep it off the black as much as possible, that would be
yes, I do know that.
preferable.
Oh, I hear a fly buzzing around in here.
Uh-oh.
They don't really like the resin much. They kind of stick. We have had flies stick to the resin.
Oh, definitely. We've had all kinds of stuff stick to the resin.
Yeah, including you. I think every time you come in here.
I can't even walk in the door without getting that sticky stuff on me.
All right. I think there's, how's it look?
Looks good. Oh, except you just tripped the green on the black. Theoretically, that will work.
How's it look?
Good.
All right, so that's pretty much what we're going to do. We'll be back later and show you the next step. So keep on watching.
We'll be back.
Hi guys. Okay, so we got the board. It's all dried. Eric did all of his sanding. He resprayed it with his clear, the Rust-Oleum clear, again to seal the board because he did sand it and down to fresh wood. So
yeah, so on the sanding, I used a 60 to kind of get it down to level, and then I used 120 to smooth it out, and then 2 coats of the Rust-Oleum clear to seal it up.
all right, and we've got 6 ounces of resin, 3 ounces of resin, 3 ounces of hardener, 6 ounces combined, and we're just going to do a flood coat. So here we go. Awkward silence. This is my favorite part because I get to play in it.
All right, you're getting your sleeve in it. Almost. Just
Can you?
barely
Thank
missed.
you. Everything that I have, my favorite sweatshirt has got a big ugly blob of resin, but I still wear it. All right, that looks like I made just about the right amount.
Yeah, sure looks like it.
Okay. lot of people are kind of intimidated by resin, and I'm not sure, I do know why. Big part of it is the cost. If you mess up something, then the cost is pretty pricey. But man, it's
Cost versus reward.
yeah, it just takes some practice. Just practice on small pieces and use Total Boat. They have a maker epoxy. And honestly, Total Boat's prices are cheaper than some of the resins that I have used in the past. So Total Boat is very good price compared to some. And the quality is just above board all the way around. So you can't go wrong there. How's it look on that side over there? Does it look like I got everything?
Yeah, it does. It looks like it's clear down.
Okay.
Clear down to the back edge on all of it.
All right, so
Except for.
just tell me.
That looks a little bit light right there. You might need a little bit more. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, these two edges look good.
All right. So now we're going to let that kind of bubble up a little bit. And then we'll just kind of keep coming back and every 15 or 20 minutes and go over it with the torch to make sure those bubbles come out. That's a good looking board there, babe.
Yeah, I like it. Looks good.
Yep. Yeah.
We really don't have much flying around in here.
No.
So we really need to tint it.
See, bubbles coming up, but that's all right. We'll let them come up for a while and then we'll come back out. But yeah, so that's that for now. And then once this is dried, set up and everything, we'll come back and Eric will show you what he's got planned for the next step. So stick with us, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll be back.
All right, you guys, it is all done. So Vicki did her resin stuff, came out really, really good, and I'm super happy with it. And then it came back to me, and I went ahead and I did the LEDs the way I had it kind of in my mind, how I wanted to do it. And there's a lot of different ways to do the LEDs. This time I did a little bit different. What I wanted the LEDs just in the green border. So I drilled it. Well, let's take a look at it and see how it looks first of all. So what I did was I drilled it from the back side. I made an exact line in the center of that border all the way around. And hopefully my measurements were correct, and it appears that they were. And then I drilled it from the back just far enough to get into that green resin. So it was really, really critical that you don't drill too far, because you can see I didn't drill through the front, I drilled from the back. So let me turn this around. These are just the fairy lights that I use on my router. It took 2 sets because I couldn't fit one well, I had to kind of use half as many lights because of the distance, the 2 inches in between. There just wasn't enough to bundle them up and stick them through there. So I had to use 2 sets, which worked out perfect. But again, so I made my mark. You can see my lines on there, and then I drilled through just far enough to penetrate the green epoxy, but not come through to the flood pour. And that's the way it came out. So
some people might say, why didn't you put them in and then pour the resin?
Well, the thing is, as a matter of fact, I got a question about that the other day. What's the best way to do it? If the lights ever go bad, I can always take them out, even though I've hot glued them. And there was one, actually a couple of them, that I didn't drill far enough and the light didn't show up really well. I just took my heat gun and held it on there for a few seconds, and it loosens that hot glue up. I can pull it right out. So these are replaceable replaceable. I can not only replace the batteries in here, but if I want to take those out, let's say I want to take those out and I want to put in colored lights, I can absolutely do that. You just use a heat gun and heat up that hot glue, and then it's you can take those lights right out of there. So that's the reason. I didn't want to embed the lights to where they wouldn't, you know, you couldn't remove them. But anyway, this one was, I had in my mind, this is the way I wanted it to look, and that's the way it came out. So hope this was helpful for you guys. Hope you guys like this. I enjoyed making it, and this will go up, like I say, will go up on the wall in Dad's room as a just kind of a reminder, a tribute to some of mine and my dad's favorite times fishing. But anyway, again, thanks for sticking with us. And if you have any questions on that, you know how to get a hold of me, eric@makeawoodsign.com. And we've got on Wednesday, we've got a brand new project coming up. In fact, we've still got like 5 or 6 projects lined up in the next few weeks. So thanks again for watching, guys. If you need any supplies, there's the website. If we can do anything for you, just let us know, eric@makeawoodsign.com. If you haven't subscribed yet, we'd love for you to subscribe. And we're on Instagram, Make a Wood Sign on Instagram. We love you guys. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.